They got the role of a lifetime, but somewhere, somehow, things went wrong.
Oh, hello. I was just,
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 actors who bombed in big roles. For this list, we've chosen actors who were cast in major parts in anticipated films, but had their performances heavily panned either by critics, moviegoers, or both.
I hope I can live up to your high standard.
For the record, we're not saying we think these actors are bad or untalented, but that these roles could have been better acted or better cast.
You don't have to do this to me, please.
Number 10, George Lazenby on Her Majesty's Secret Service.
My name's Bond. James Bond.
Following in the footsteps of Sean Connery's James Bond was going to be a thankless job no matter who was given the honor.
Big Fry. Here comes Big Fry with exotic Big Fry Turkish delight.
So when a model from a Big Fry chocolate commercial got the job based on how he looked when the film's producer met him at a barbershop, the writing was on the wall.
Not bad for a start.
Despite George Lazenby's good looks and Bond-esque physique, his acting wasn't quite up to par.
Story of our life, Jane?
Let's keep my martini cool.
He appeared uncomfortable, had trouble delivering his lines, and even had his voice substituted by another actor's for certain scenes.
Is anything the matter, Celery?
just a slight stiffness coming on.
The Australian thespian became the only actor to ever play Bond just once.
This never happened to the other fella.
Number 9, Mike Myers, The Cat in the Hat.
Son of a bitch!
A film so bad it inspired Dr. Seuss's widow to ban any more live-action adaptations of her late husband's work. The Cat in the Hat features a Mike Myers performance as the titular feline that should be put to sleep.
I think that's a great idea.
Awkward and unfunny. It appeared that someone behind the film believed that if a character laughs at every joke he makes, the audience will have to think it's funny too. Riding high after the successes of Austin Powers and Goldmember and the first Shrek movie, Myers' career was never quite the same following this awful performance.
Well, there are two treatments I'd recommend. One is a series of painful shots injected into your abdomen and kneecaps. And the other involves a musical number. Me, meow.
How many shots?
Number 8, Topher Grace, Spider-Man 3. Fresh off the TV show that made him a star, Topher Grace was tapped to play one of the most popular Spider-Man villains, Venom, in the third installment of Sam Raimi's trilogy. Instead of stretching as an actor and becoming a bigger star because of it, he brought little to nothing new to the role, and became a major part of why the film was so loathed by so many fans.
What's that smell?
That's a little something called Nice and Easy. What's on you?
It's called Go Away.
Coming off like a teenager that thinks the world is out to get him, instead of the badass Eddie Brock / Venom is meant to be, Grace appears to have bitten off more than he could chew.
The suit! You gotta take it off!
Oh, you'd like that, wouldn't you?
Number 7, Mark Wahlberg, Planet of the Apes.
Help me. Please.
One of many actors who were tasked with performing awful lines in front of beautiful set pieces in this remake of the 1968 sci-fi flick, Mark Wahlberg failed the hardest of every performer involved. Most likely because he's the lead.
Yeah, let's get your people out of here. Tell them to go to the mountains and hide while there's still a chance.
When an actor resorts to being out of breath in scene after scene to invoke everything from confusion to exhaustion, it's a clear sign that things probably aren't going to turn out well.
You're hurt.
And at the center of a love triangle with a fellow human and an ape, he also manages the impressive feat of having zero chemistry with either of them. Number 6, Keanu Reeves, Bram Stoker's Dracula.
I didn't hear you come in.
Despite being a capable actor who has starred in many successful films, jokes about Keanu Reeves' perceived inability have dogged him throughout his career.
As if I have a part to play in a story that is not known to me.
With very few discernible differences between his acting in this film compared to his two turns as Ted in the Bill and Ted flicks,
Excellent!
which were comedies as opposed to the horror fantasy and dramatic tone of Dracula. Keanu barely seems to understand the words that are coming out of his own mouth.
We'll not let you go into the unknown alone.
And that's not even considering his sloppy British accent.
I know where the bastard sleeps. I brought him down.
Sharing scenes with the immensely talented Gary Oldman in one of that actor's best roles casts an even greater spotlight on how out of his depth Reeves was in the part.
I have offended you with my ignorance, Count.
Number 5. Ashton Kutcher, Jobs.
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs. All right.
This 2013 attempt by Ashton Kutcher to be taken seriously as an actor sees Kelso take on the role of the late co-founder of Apple Inc.
Apple. Excuse me? Apple like the fruit?
The fruit of creation. Apple. It's simple but sophisticated. It comes before Atari in the phone books.
Unfortunately, his performance as Steve Jobs in the biographical drama fell completely short of that lofty goal.
This company will not make shit anymore.
Lacking any of the complexity of the real-life man, Kutcher instead relies on facial hair and stone-faced staring to mask his inability to enact nuanced emotions.
I'm a little bit busy. Do you mind if we talk later?
Many were left disappointed at the film's superficial look at Jobs' life, which did little to represent him as the icon he was and still is.
It was the worst mistake I have ever made.
Number 4. Ben Affleck, Daredevil. Prior to this superhero flick, Ben Affleck was a fairly respected actor as well as an Academy Award-winning screenplay writer.
The leprechaun got his dick in the monkey's ass, and Morgan comes running in going, I don't mind it!
And while he's regained some of that respect, mostly for his directing,
Or go f yourself.
we still remember when he starred in this abysmal comic book adaptation that threatened to erase the career he had been tirelessly building to that point.
Not tonight. I got work to do.
Seemingly sleepwalking in every scene, Affleck lacks any of the charisma or charm he's come to be known for as the titular hero.
That light at the end of the tunnel, guess what? That's not heaven.
It even earned him a Razzie for Worst Actor, alongside his roles in Geely and Paycheck the same year.
I never worked here, I never saw anybody, I never was here. I got it. Is my paycheck ready?
Number 3. Colin Farrell, Alexander.
And so be it.
When movie fans got wind that the visionary director of films like Platoon and Natural Born Killers was going to bring to life one of history's most successful leaders, many were undoubtedly salivating. But when they saw the end product, we can only imagine they cried tears of despair into their popcorn tubs.
We'll talk about this later.
Nominated for a Worst Actor Razzie, Colin Farrell's take on the titular military leader could be called pitiful.
Conquer your fear! And I promise you, you'll conquer death!
At least when compared to the real Alexander the Great, who was a man of such overpowering personality that former generals went to battle over who got to keep his corpse following his death.
I wish.
Never once in any of the many cuts of the film does Farrell ever even once hint at that level of gravitas, let alone even a small percentage of it. Number 2. George Clooney, Batman and Robin.
Hi, Freeze. I'm Batman.
Joel Schumacher's 1997 superhero flick is the film that broke 1 million Batman fanboys' hearts.
There's something about an anatomically correct rubber suit that puts fire in a girl's lips.
Fortunately for George Clooney, he managed to survive what many consider the worst comic book movie of all time. And that's saying something, through luck and sheer talent.
Hey, Freeze. The heat is on.
But for some reason, he didn't bring that talent to Batman and Robin.
I know. And you are?
Years later, he jokingly offered to refund the ticket price to anyone foolish enough to have seen it in the theater. And one critic even compared his performance to George Lazenby's Bond. If that doesn't speak to how bad he performed as Batman, we don't know what does.
We have work to do.
Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
Who's your father?
I'll give you a hint. He's Italian.
I'm Elise.
I'm Frank.
That's a terrible name.
It's the only one I've got.
Maybe we can find you another.
Okay.
I want to say if I upset you, it was because, I don't know, I was trying to celebrate you and protect you at the same time, and those two things got confused.
You saved my life, Midnight. But somebody killed me.
And I've got to find out who and why.
Number 1. Hayden Christensen, Star Wars Episodes 2 and 3.
It's not fair.
Darth Vader's faceless facade allowed for him to become the absolute personification of evil when the original Star Wars trilogy came out.
There is no escape. Don't make me destroy you.
After Return of the Jedi humanized him, the stage was set for the character to be further fleshed out in the prequels.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
Unfortunately, nobody was prepared for how annoying and grating Jake Lloyd was as a young Anakin Skywalker in Episode 1. And things didn't get much better for the second and third episodes, as the older version of Anakin, Hayden Christensen, took a figure to be feared and transformed him into a whiny baby who seems on the verge of tears in almost every scene.
I hate them.
Adding insult to injury, he also takes part in romantic scenes that are supposed to make audiences care about the characters involved. Instead, Christensen mostly came across as wooden and creepy.
I'm haunted by the kiss that you should never have given me. My heart is beating.
Do you agree with our list? Which actor do you think dropped the ball in a major role? For more entertaining top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
Ready, James?
Sir, I have the honor to request you will accept my resignation, effective forthwith.